Hello, everyone. We are currently the aftermath of Freedom 250. It's been like a week or so, and everybody's thinking about next matchups, like following matchups. What to do with Gaethje since he's not retiring, or at least hasn't said he was retiring. What to do with Ilya? What to do with Gunn? What to do with Pereira? And honestly, what I really want to talk about is like Gaethje's next fight. I think it should be against Arman. I think everybody thinks it should be against Arman. Arman deserves his title shot. It's been about time. And that'll be a good fight. It'll be very hyped up. Arman's kind of become a little bit more of a star now with social media. Um, Listen, man, people forget when he was the most hated fighter in the UFC. He was still one of my favorites back in the day. People forget, man. But anyways, um, Arman should get his belt back. People like him now. It's cool. It's great. He's a fun personality. Very fun fighter to watch. And I don't know how to say this because I don't necessarily believe it. I'm a little bit nervous to get it out, but like Justin Gaethje beats Arman. That's just what I think right now. Like literally, like I was taking a shower yesterday. I was just like, you know what, man? As I'm waiting for this thing to heat up, I might as well just like watch Arman versus Dan Hooker, man. Like pretty good fight. Nothing super memorable, but he kind of went in there with like a can, relatively. I'm not saying Dan Hooker's can, but like relatively to Arman's skill, like he kind of is a can. And he tore him apart, is what people would think. It's kind of what happened, but when you watch it, it's like, dude, like Arman, Arman's fighting style, like I think Gaethje could really beat him. I don't know if that's like really that much of a hot take anymore because we saw how good Gaethje really was at Freedom 250. But what I mean to say is Arman would shoot on Hooker, and he did get him down a couple times, but like some shots were just like bad, and it's just like when you're in the pocket like that against someone like Gaethje's gonna fire uppercuts and hooks, and you're just not gonna make it out. And we know he's not necessarily chinny, but he's been knocked out like outside of the UFC, and he's been rocked in the UFC. And like Gaethje, even if he doesn't like knock you out, it's still just like damage. It's still just like his little hard ass fist hitting your face. He doesn't Gaethje like has power, but he doesn't necessarily have like the precision to knock people out. But he still hits really hard, so it still does damage. Still will rock people. Still gets people uncomfortable. And Arman is pretty good under pressure, against Oliveira when he was in his submissions. Like he was still fighting. He got out of it, reverse position. So that's a good thing for Arman, but like I don't Gaethje has some sort of ability that's just like so much different from like anything else that we've ever really seen where it's like he might not look the most visually appealing to watch fight, but he just does things to people. And I'm sure Arman's wrestling's a lot better and his grappling is probably better than Ilya's. I mean, he's definitely proven it. But I don't is he really gonna be able to submit Gaethje? I mean, even though Armand has a lot of great, I'm not saying that like Gaethje beats Armand definitely, but on like I don't really like the matchup. Like I remember before I was thinking, oh, Armand would just butcher him, but now honestly, like if it's a 50-50 like betting odds or something, I wouldn't mind throwing something on Gaethje. This map is hard as hell, bro. And I just don't see how. I mean, it's not like Arman's gonna knock him out. He has some pop, but not like Ilya. Ilya almost finished Gaethje, but he kind of threw. But like, I don't know if I'm missing that much else. Really, I'm sure I'm missing a lot. I'm not really like a fight breakdowner. That's something some people may say about themselves. I'm not really a fight breakdowner. I'm more of like a fight watcher. All right, sorry, but like I'm not saying that like Gaethje has a good style for Arman, but the violence might it sounds so corny, but like the violence might shift it in his way a little bit. His takedown I'm not saying that like he could get up from takedowns, but he's able to just survive on bottom. I guess Ilya when he got dropped bad, he got hurt bad, he was still able to just like survive. And that's good enough to make it to the end of the round. And I just think like when Arman goes for a shitty takedown like he did against someone like Dan Hooker, couldn't finish it. Like Gaethje's just gonna drop bombs on him, and he might drop him. You know, he might hurt him bad. He might injure him. You know, and I don't really want to compare Arman to Ilya too much since they are very different fighters. Arman is a little bit more rangy. He throws more kicks, like high kicks, body kicks, which will be very effective against Gaethje probably, because he'd be a little bit more out of range to avoid those hooks and stuff. But like Gaethje, even like Gaethje's jab looked really good against Ilya. It was just like it was like faster. It was weird. And it was just like every time Gaethje would like okay, but also like against Ilya, like literally every time Gaethje like threw his hands, like it would just connect with Ilya's face. Like no matter what it was, a punch, any like if he just threw his hand, it would just connect with Ilya's face. Was just like getting hit all the time in that fight, and I think it's more on Ilya not moving as much as he normally does, or throwing feints, or being as good as he normally is. Oh, let me lock in. Where? Fuck! Sorry. I think it's more on Ilya, even though Gaethje did show up that night. Just like, I don't, whatever. Anyways, even like Dan Hooker in that Arman fight was landing. That's all he had against Arman was like the skilly attempts, which were not really close at all. And the jab, but he was still landing that jab. Now, I should give Dan Hooker a little bit more credit. He is a pretty lengthy, good striker, but Gaethje has to be a lot better, dude. Especially after we saw him. Actually, Dan Hooker's striking was better against VSD, but still, it just didn't really matter because of like grappling and stuff, and like Dan Hooker's kind of been through it, so his body just took so much punishment. But anyways, well, that guy's quick. I'm not saying that you should like pick Gaethje to beat Arman, but if it happens, like I'll be so unsurprised. Like if McGregor beats Holloway, like I think I'll just like lose all feeling in like my brain. Not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just like it just be so ridiculous. And that's kind of all I want to say. If I really missed something about that fight, like I'm not giving a full breakdown, just like early thoughts about how like honestly this fight could be really tough for Arman. Like I don't even think like Arman has like a 70% chance to beat Gaethje, which is like a huge favorite. But like Ilya had like an 80% chance, and we saw that fight win. So I just don't. I think this fight will be pretty competitive. I'm sure betting lines Arman will be a favorite, but honestly, I don't think it'll be that big of a favorite. But maybe I'm missing something. Maybe Arman's ground and pound is just too overwhelming, and he'll be able to just finish Gaethje, which I love. Arman's ground and pound probably made him one of my favorite fighters. Honestly, it's very unique how he, against Oliveira, against one of the best submission artists, he was just still in there, fighting off submissions and landing ground and pound. Is the most badass thing ever, and it's really fun to watch. Ground and pound's amazing. That's why I like him. That's why I like Volk. If you don't know, Volk has a really underrated ground and pound, very fun to watch against Yair and Brian Ortega. But I don't know. I don't really think Gaethje will be able to. I mean, if he gets on his back and Arman's on top, it's not like Gaethje's going to throw out a sub, you know what I mean? So he'd probably be fried there, but I don't know. It should be hard for Arman to get there, probably. Gaethje's also kind of a tough cookie. But that's kind of all I wanted to say, really. You could just skip that whole part. So, what the hell? That's all I kind of wanted to say, really. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous for Arman. I think he might get his chain snatched, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know. If I really missed something, please tell me, because I'm thinking of this. I'm thinking like Gaethje's violence and his style and his shots in the pocket. Just like it could really just like mess Arman up, you know. But I don't know. That's kind of all I wanted to say. Maybe I'll make something out. Maybe I'll give a full breakdown, the full casual breakdown, and yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching me play Roblox Surf and talk about, you know what, whatever. I just don't even feel like doing that right now. See y'all.